What is going on, everybody? What is going on? The Catch fam. Hope you guys are doing phenomenal tonight, man. Hope you guys all had a great weekend. Hope you guys had a great Easter Sunday. If you did celebrate, and hope you guys had a great start to the week. It is Monday night, and we are here with another live 2023 startup mock draft for the 2023 Dynasty Fantasy Football season. We've got some third round reversal action tonight. We're gonna have some fun. We're gonna talk some fantasy football. So excited as ever to be here with you guys. Just so you know, if you guys are tuning in, we've got a super flex format, 3 wide receivers, tight end premium, 2 flex spots. We're rolling with 10 bench spots, and like I said, it will be a third round reversal draft tonight. So hit that like button on the way in, hit that subscribe button, of course, if you guys are new to the channel, but most importantly, hop in the live chat. Any fantasy football topics, redraft, dynasty, best ball, any NFL topics, whatever it may be, get it popping. Let's do it. And with that being said, let's start this mock draft. Let's not waste any time. So, okay. Did not stream on Easter, did not stream on Sunday. Saturday night stream, we just ran a regular redraft mock, right? And the topic of the night was Odell Beckham Jr. going to the Jets potentially. We started to get some buzz that was going to potentially happen. We're supposed to meet with the Jets today. Some things have changed, right? Some things have changed. So, Odell going to the Ravens, and I literally, Saturday night, I told you guys that the worst landing spot in my mind, the last place, this might surprise you guys, I'm going to go Burrow over Hurts here with Jay Speezy going JJ at 1.3. But literally, the 2 places I did not want to see Odell go, the Ravens and the Patriots. I took the clip already, put it on Instagram, just like, I could not believe that, right? And I was all for Odell going to the Jets, line up as a wide receiver 3, Garrett Wilson's there, Allen Lazard's, probably in the slot, but the wide receiver 2 nonetheless. You got Corey Davis potentially staying there, Denzel Mims could potentially, I don't know, right? I also talked about Corey Davis and Denzel Mims potentially being cut or traded, but Odell being there, and I just really like that fit. Nonetheless, that is far out the window, okay? So, Odell Beckham Jr. going to the Ravens on an $18 million contract, and essentially $15 million is guaranteed. So, Odell did contact the Jets, supposedly, and asked if they would match the offer. And they said, no way, Jose. No way. So, I mean, don't get me wrong. Great contract for Odell Beckham. I don't know that, I don't have it pulled up in front of me, but he's essentially getting like $1.165 million for his base salary, then something around 13 point whatever million in terms of his signing bonus, and it might be a little bit more than that. And then there's some incentive-based stuff as well. But essentially, $15 million guaranteed. A great contract for a 30-year-old wide receiver coming off of a major injury who has not played football in over a year, essentially. So last time we saw him playing was 2 Super Bowls ago, right? So when Odell went to the Rams, guys, I loved the fit there, right? Offense was booming that year, okay? Cooper Kupp was doing ridiculous things. Sean McVay coach team, won a Super Bowl, right? Odell Beckham caught a touchdown Super Bowl, right? I just don't love this fit for Odell, but we've got so much to dive into here, right? Because we got Lamar Jackson posting on Instagram, him and Odell FaceTiming. Supposedly, Lamar Jackson has been actively recruiting Odell Beckham to the Ravens. Obviously, money aside, Odell seems to be happy signing there. I don't know how much money aside we can really get into there because the contract was probably way better than anywhere else. But The point being is that the direction that things are pointing is that Lamar is going to be back with the Ravens. So obviously we've been torn in so many different directions with Lamar, him returning to the Ravens, not returning to the Ravens, right? And listen, like it looks like or Lamar wants to be there throwing the football to Odell Beckham Jr. So let me know in the chat. I'm going to go Bryce Young here tonight. Do you guys think Lamar is sticking with the Ravens? Because the signs that the tides are starting to turn that way, right? Let's talk about the Ravens receiving corps. If Lamar Jackson is back, you know, Lamar could sign a franchise tag, right? Lamar could truly be back even without a long-term deal. Could hold out. I mean, if he doesn't hold out, it kind of defeats the purpose of this offseason. But nonetheless, right? You got Rashad Bateman coming off of a major foot injury after missing part of his rookie season due to an injury in college. You've got Odell Beckham lining up as the wide receiver 2 at the moment. And you've got Nelson Aguilar, the other big name signing this offseason for the Ravens, lining up as your wide receiver 3. And Devin Duvernay is somewhere as well. Then you've got Mandrews at the tight end position, who will probably see more volume than... I mean, he's essentially the wide receiver 3 on the squad, right? J.K. Dobbins at running back, and probably 7 other running backs throughout the season. So offensive line is pretty decent. Defense was great last year. I mean, don't forget, this was a playoff team last year, okay? It's a lot of ways we can dissect all of this. There's a large group of people saying Odell Beckham Jr. going to the Ravens doesn't mean anything. There's no way Lamar Jackson's going to be back. This is not enough. Odell Beckham, far from his prime, and Nelson Aguilar and Rashad Bateman coming off an injury is not enough. You know, obviously Mark Andrews is there. But so you've got a group of people who really don't think this move means anything in terms of the Lamar Jackson situation. So there is a ton to break down. A lot of it is pure speculation. But nonetheless, here we are. I mean, at least we got some juice. We got some news for the week, right? All right, I'm going to hop into the live chat in 1 second. I'm going to make this next selection here, and then I'll be there with you guys. I promise. All right, I'm going to go Drake London here. Okay, sorry, I know I'm already way behind. All right, we got Derek in the building tonight. What is going on, my guy? Hello. Hello. And like I said, guys, please let me know, whether it's Odell Beckham Jr. or Lamar Jackson, any aspect of that, of the signing, the situation, whatever you guys want to break down in the chat, please let me know. Albert, what's going on? Hello, hello. Godfather's in the house. Cats, Thomas, After the Review Sports. What's up, Pete? Chase is in the house. What's going on, everybody? Good to see you guys tonight. Shane says he got kicked. Oh, no. I don't know why he does that sometimes. Just every now and then somebody randomly gets kicked. I'm sorry, Shane. Boss man, how do you feel about the Watson pick at 2.1? So you've got Prescott on the board, two-time Young, Stroud, and Kyler. I can understand not going Kyler there, although I do like Kyler Murray. But I can understand just due to the fact that we're playing the super flex format, he's going to miss part of the season. I understand that aspect. I think I'm okay if that's you have the most conviction in out of that group. I might personally go Prescott. When we're breaking down age here, I mean, Prescott's 29, Watson is 27, so Watson gets the advantage there. I mean, I would just go with you have the most conviction in Tua time, injury history, you know, so, I mean, I get it. I think the pick's okay. I'm going to go Cooper Kupp here. I know it's not a great in terms of age and all that, but try and balance out. I mean, we got Burrow, veteran, young, youth. Cup, veteran, London, youth. Try and keep it balanced tonight. Thomas says, I think it's a waste for Baltimore getting OBJ. I mean, it is intriguing. Maybe not intriguing. It is interesting because it's a pretty fat contract. Don't get me wrong. Like, signing bonuses help teams when it comes to cap room. So the fact that the base salary is so low, that aspect helps them, right? But I don't know. I have read a lot about this specific aspect, right? If Lamar Jackson is willing to take less money or return to the Ravens in general because they signed Odell Beckham, then it is a very smart contract for the Ravens because they acquire Lamar Jackson back. Disgruntled or not disgruntled, awkward tension, no awkward tension, whatever it might be between the Ravens and Lamar Jackson. If they get him back, whatever you want to say, it is beyond valuable for the respective team because Lamar Jackson is a phenomenal quarterback. So, listen, I get what you're saying. It's a one-year deal. Odell's got to stay healthy. And I think there's a bad history with the Ravens and the Ravens wide receivers in terms of injuries. Odell's got to stay healthy. We all know that part, right? If Odell plays 12 games this year, 14 games this year, I think the contract is probably worth it. But outside of Odell, right, if Lamar returns, the contract's probably worth it in general, right? Wouldn't you think? We have several Ravens fans in the community drafting tonight. I need to know your guys' thoughts. It's so funny because, like, Saturday night, literally, like, I was just, like, trashing if the Ravens made this move. I mean, to be fair, I talked about the Patriots too, but as soon as I was literally on a walk with my family, my phone starts going off, and I'm like, oh, wow. I just hated getting this news. But now that I've reflected on it, I actually think that it could be a decent move if Lamar is back. You know? If Lamar is not back, then I think it's a waste. I don't know. Depends. A lot can happen, but Lamar's got to be back. For sure. Never mind. Godfather, if Lamar does stay in Baltimore, what weapons do they need to get that people would like, if not someone like OBJ? It's a good question. Like, who's really out there at this point? Let's look it up. Free agent NFL wide receivers. Because I can tell you off the top of my head, it's not many players. Let's see here. Yeah, like Kenny Golladay and Robbie Anderson are the two top receivers. Then Randall Cobb and Julio Jones. Yeah, I mean, Watkins, Jarvis Landry. I mean, I would assume Landry would get signed somewhere. Guys, that's like it. That's it. I mean, Julio, Brian Pringle, N'Keal Harry. Yeah, I mean, it's Rashad Perryman. And it's not very good. Beforehand, we had Alan Lazard, Jacoby Myers, Juju, Adam Thielen, Bobby Trees, Darius Slayton, DJ Chark, McCole Hardman, Paris Campbell, Zach Pascal, Braxton Berrios. Did I say Braxton Berrios, excuse me. Mac Hollins, DeAndre Carter, Isaiah McKenzie. There weren't a ton of names regardless. Let me make this draft selection. But, and I think it's pretty fair to say that, right? Like, who else were they supposed to sign? Unless they made a move earlier. I'll go Jordan Addison here. Kind of a tough pick. I mean, there's kind of players available across the board that I like right now. But I want a rookie receiver. Go Addison. Which brings me to the next point, right? I forgot to bring up earlier. The Ravens can still draft a receiver. And I think they will. I think it's a good receiver class. So you could have another weapon added very quickly. Emil, what's going on? Emil says, I don't think Lamar stays with Baltimore. Chase says Bateman's definitely better off not being the wide receiver one. Emil, if you wanted to play for Baltimore, you would have signed the tender already. Cats, I could have had Hurts, Brown, and Devonta. Fumbled the bag. Uh-oh. I think getting a little bit of diversification in there is okay, actually. Taylor, plenty of time to get a deal done. This is true. After the review, no rush to sign it. He can wait until July, see if the Ravens make good moves. That could be part of it. He's sitting back saying, prove that you want me, right? Oh, I kind of want to switch it up tonight. We ran a mock last night, and I felt like I switched it up. So we're Christian Kirk here before Michael can draft him. I like that pick to kind of balance out Jordan Addison. I like Addison a lot, but just in case, So yeah, I like tonight's start so far. I almost went with a running back there. I mean, you guys know I don't go running back that early. Generally, I almost did. Last night's off-air mock, I kind of toyed around a little bit with going running back and or tight end a little bit sooner. Derek, I got OBJ in a couple leagues, so I hope he does okay in Baltimore, but I ain't holding my breath. Yeah. Listen, I've always been a fan of Odell Beckham. I just think he's an extremely fun player to watch. I mean, he's an incredible talent. He's one of the most unique talents at the wide receiver position, literally in like the last 10 years. But injury history, chemistry history, right? Like when he went to the Browns, between Baker and teammates, the locker room. Even with the Giants, stuff on the sidelines, but you have to admit, when he's fully healthy, he's a great receiver. But I just don't know what version of Odell we're going to get, right? It was just a perfect fit with the Rams when he went to the Rams. He was healthy until he wasn't. At least he scored a touchdown before he got injured in the Super Bowl, but it was just a good fit. Listen, I hope Odell Beckham has a great year. I really do. But I just don't know if we're going to get it. Andrew, what's going on? Hello. I think Lamar Jackson's staying in Baltimore. We'll see. Godfather says Watson, head and shoulders above Dak, in my opinion. Bossman says the Dak and CD stack would be nice. He did get CD. That is one thing to consider. I think Dak's probably got, what? I mean, I don't know how high the ceiling is, right? But 4 to 5 years left. Jerry Jones obviously loves him. So if you tie up that connection, Bossman, I love Dak and Deshaun Dynasty, but I'm a Cowboys fan, so I'm biased. Yeah, and that can be another aspect, especially with Dynasty, right? It depends on the situation. You're not going to pass up Mahomes at 1.1 just because you're a Chiefs fan, right? But sometimes people do want to take out the reality from fantasy, right? If you're a Cowboys fan and you have Prescott on your fantasy team, you don't want to be angry or more concerned about fantasy than enjoying a football game. Then I get that too. Oz, what's going on, man? Did you sub? Then how can you get a dub? What's up, Oz? It's been a minute. Good to see you, bro. What's up? Chase says Falcons should have gone after Lamar. I mean, maybe behind the scenes they potentially still are, but ultimately I am a little bit surprised that we haven't heard more about that with how heavy the Falcons went after Deshaun Watson, right? I mean, they literally lost the only franchise quarterback they've had since Michael Vick, correct me if I'm wrong, and Matt Ryan, just to try and fail at signing Deshaun Watson. So I definitely think it's interesting that there hasn't been more buzz there, but maybe they just wholeheartedly believe in experimenting with Desmond Ridder, who has at least 3 really cheap years left on his contract. Thomas says money-wise is good, player-wise no. It's a great contract for Odell, for sure. Says I don't want to get Lamar. Colts should draft a quarterback. Yeah, I think personally I mean, I was starting to like the rumor circulating that the Colts might go for Lamar, but I personally don't think they are in the long run. I don't. All right, where do I want to go here? Give me my boy. Give me Patty F. Let's do it. Let's do it. Get my tight end out the way. Super young. I just love Freiermuth. I really do. Really, really do. All right. After the review says Snoop Huntley, another Pro Bowl season with OBJ. That's right. That's right. They've got to load up for our boy Tyler Huntley. Sorry, I just punched my mic. That was probably a bad noise for you guys. I do that a lot. Taylor, Ravens fan here, and I think most of us thought Lamar was gone until this. If they still take a wide receiver in the first round, I don't mind the OBJ move, although it's still too much money. What does the... I'll try to look it up in a second, but what does the Ravens cap situation look like? Okay, doke. Where do I want to go here? That's what I say at the beginning of every selection. I'm going to go Rashad White and take a running back off the board. Fill 2 positional needs. I mean, I got 4 receivers. Good balance there. Still need some help at quarterback. Still need another tight end. And now I need lots of running back depth and more wide receiver depth. But ultimately, I like the start to this draft. Yeah, so I think it's a good point, Taylor, that a lot of Ravens fans in general really thought Lamar is gone. And this kind of gives you some hope, right? And this kind of changes the tide, so to speak, right? N'Keal Harry might be a sneaky good pickup. I mean, was great coming out of college. Just went to the Patriots. Didn't get utilized. And what? Then went to the Bears, right? Yeah. Maybe. Godfather, OBJ didn't fit in Cleveland because they didn't use him properly and Baker was overrated. I mean, I think that's fair to say. I think that's fair to say for sure. I did always feel like within that offense, Odell wasn't primed to be his best. For sure. Yeah, and the chemistry between Baker and Odell was basically non-existent. For sure. Tom's A-Rod higher than Jordan Love on the ADP. Fancy or dynasty-wise, Love is better, says Tommy. Yeah. It's kind of difficult because we have such a small sample size when it does come to Jordan Love. And I think what you get out of Aaron Rodgers right away is, I would argue, 2 years of consistency. I don't know how high the ceiling's going to be, but in a super flex format, having the ability to plug Aaron Rodgers in, it's still valuable. When you look at Jordan Love, everything else from a dynasty perspective is better, right? Like, you know what you're going to get out of Aaron Rodgers. We still don't exactly know what we're going to get out of Jordan Love. We have somewhat of a sample size, but not a massive sample size, right? So Jordan Love far, far younger, obviously. So the dynasty aspect, I do agree, is better. I mean, 24 years old going into his 4th season. It feels like yesterday that the Packers drafted Jordan Love and like all hell broke loose, right? But there's a reason why he hasn't been the starter. Is because Aaron Rodgers has performed at a very high level. I mean, he's won 2 MVPs since they drafted Jordan Love. So it's an interesting discussion for sure. But I would agree, like, the value of Jordan Love being that you can take him sometimes later than Aaron Rodgers, to your point, is probably better from a dynasty perspective for sure. For sure. All right, let's see here. Did they? I think no, they didn't. I was gonna say I think they moved Rashad Bateman's ADP up a little bit, but I think I just haven't been paying attention before tonight. Speaking of A-Rod, throw him on my squad. I need a third quarterback. I mean, I got one young stud in Burrow, a potential young stud in Young. No pun intended. A lot of repetitiveness there. I'll take Rodgers on this squad. Why not? By the way, what's up, Jay Speezy? I see you, man. Taking mac and cheese at 9.10. Yeah, I almost went with a skill position player at 9.9. And I'm so happy I didn't. Because I personally like Rodgers a lot more than Jones' staph infection or Garoppolo. Garoppolo, I think, is going to be a really safe selection. Stafford, I'm very worried about. Mac and cheese, I still have faith in. I do. New offensive coordinator. But I'm still very worried about him, too. So I like A-Rod there. Like I said, ceiling not super high. But I do think he'll be consistent at least. All right. What am I looking at here? We got 4 receivers, a tight end, 3 quarterbacks, a running back. I got to go running back here. Chat, where would you go? Isaiah Pacheco, age 23. Tyler Algier, age 22. Both going into their second season. Love both these guys. I'm going to go Pacheco, just tied to better offense, but I would be ecstatic with either of those guys there. So if I didn't go Rodgers, I could have landed Algier and Pacheco, which would have been really nice. But then going to the quarterback position, like, I wouldn't be picking till the 11.9 again. I don't know who would make it out, but Hendon Hooker, Ritter, Malik Willis, Sam Howell, Ryan Tannehill, Mayfield, Zach Wilson, Stetson Bennett, like it's pretty bad. Sam Darnold. So I'm okay with A-Rod there. I am. All right, let's see. Godfather says Rodgers could play 2 to 3 more seasons, probably 2, but Jordan Love, no idea what he can do. He may be out of the league in 2 years. Is fair. I hate Rodgers over Love and Dynasty. Love hasn't. Or I rate Rodgers over Love and Dynasty. Love hasn't proved anything. Yeah, like I said, that's the Dynasty aspect, just purely based on like drafting, right? Like Jordan Love is younger. That's basically all we're looking at, right? Like he gets the nod there, but like I said, it's difficult to evaluate because we have such a small sample size out of Jordan Love. I've liked his value throughout the offseason in a lot of these mocks. I mean, he was a guy I was targeting pretty early on, just because, if you can land him as your third quarterback, like I think it's worth it if he does work out. But you are taking a risk because we're looking at a very small sample size. Very, very small sample size. Now, 2021, he played that full game, right, against Kansas City. 34 attempts, 19 completions, 190 passing yards, a touchdown, a pick, 23 yards on the ground, and a fumble. There's your stat line, right? But this past season, week 12 at Philadelphia, Packers kept that game semi-competitive and then completely fizzled out. That was a game Rodgers got a little banged up or whatever. Rodgers started to struggle. Love comes in. All of that. Love looked good. For the the Kansas City game, full game. Then we have this game, half game, against Philadelphia. Those are your 2 main sample sizes outside of preseason games, right? And some other plays here and there, right? But week 12, 9 passing attempts, 6 completions, 113 passing yards, a touchdown, no turnovers, no fumbles. So, don't get me wrong. The other issue with looking at that game is that Philly was kind of already had taken the swing of momentum. Didn't need to do as much in that game. All right, hold on. Give me 1 second here, guys. Man, wide receivers are just taking a massive shift. I'm going to James Cook here. Taking all the year 2 running backs tonight. So, yeah, the issue also with that game is that, I mean, Green Bay was actually keeping that game relatively competitive. I mean, Philly broke away in the second half, and that's what worries me. I mean, it was like a big play to Christian Watson, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see if I can figure that out. I think it was to Watson. So I don't know. It's just a tough sample size. Only point I'm making. All right, I'm kind of torn on this next pick. Yeah, I've started to notice, like, in our startup mocks, there's not as many wide receivers in late rounds that I like. I mean, literally, like, once we get to, like, the 11th or 12th round, there's still names that I like, don't get me wrong. But it does start to dry up, so to speak, a little bit. Okay, I'm going to go completely against ADP here. And take Kenneth Gainwell. So that puts my running backs with Rashad White, Pacheco, James Cook, Kenneth Gainwell. I'm okay with that. But right now I've got a running back in my second flex spot, which I don't love. I'd rather see that as a receiver. So I've got some work to do at the wide receiver position. And we'll see how I shake this thing out, man. All right, let's see. After the review says, Packers can't have 3 great quarterbacks in a row. Love has to be a bust. In literally 2 Hall of Famers in a row, right? I mean, I guess he doesn't have to be a Hall of Famer. Like, that's, man, there's a lot of pressure on Jordan Love. I mean, literally, oh my gosh. Why? I am totally having, like, one of those moments where I can't remember the name of the Matt LaFleur. Oh my gosh, that was driving me crazy. I always pick the Packers playbook in Madden, and like I was just envisioning the Madden version of Matt LaFleur, and like I just could not think of his name. That was like the weirdest thing ever. Anyways, Matt LaFleur has literally came out and said that you need to tamper your expectations for Jordan Love if you're a Packers fan. Like, and not even he literally said everyone needs to tamper their expectations for Jordan Love, which is saying something, right? I mean, the head coach comes out and says it. So, because, yeah, he probably won't be a Hall of Fame quarterback, right? But he doesn't necessarily have to be for the Packers to be successful, right? You know, there are plenty of mediocre to good quarterbacks on successful teams in the NFL right now, you know? So we'll see what happens. But I would agree he probably won't be a Hall of Fame quarterback. Godfather, who the weapons Love has to throw the ball to outside of the running back position? I mean, I think he does have good options. Him and Romeo Doubs have showed some decent chemistry. Christian Watson is fine. I will say, as much as I like Watson, and I do think Romeo Doubs, if healthy, can be a good wide receiver 2 or receiver 3, they are still missing like that big body or like just that wide receiver who makes really contested catches, who lines up as a wide receiver 1. They might draft a receiver, you know, which would be very ironic if they go out and they get weapons in the draft early on, and they didn't do it for Rodgers, right? So, but they don't necessarily have to do it early on, but they could draft a receiver as well. But I think that Watson and Dobbs are a pretty good combo. But yeah, tight end position, they might draft a tight end as well. They could use one. Hold on, let me make this draft pick here. I'm going to go Jacoby Myers here. He's starting to become a late-round player that I like quite a bit. Ooh, I'm kind of torn on where I want to go with this next pick. I was really hoping that Dawson Knox would fall out. It's a good pick by Tommy. I knew Dolchich probably wouldn't make it. I was hoping Knox would fall out. But I'll survive. I got my boy Patty F. I think I'm going to go receiver here. I think that's what I'm going to do. Kayshawn's gone. Yeah, I'm going to take Rashee Rice here. Okay, where were we? Yeah. So I think the Packers could add weapons in the draft as well. I think it would be smart too. But Godfather, I do think that outside of Aaron Jones catching the football, A.J. Dillon in the backfield as well, I do think he's got two decent options for sure. Thomas says, none of the quarterbacks look good at the 11.4, but I felt that I needed the third quarterback. I do agree, especially with Love as your QB2, you needed somebody. Yeah. So Ritter or Howell were your options. I'm okay with going Ritter there. I'm okay with going Howell there. I think you're both players going into their second season have a big question mark around them. So, truthfully, both teams are kind of set up almost in similar fashion, but I think Washington probably has more offensive weapons. It's close. Better receivers in Washington. But you got Kyle Pitts and Algier with the Falcons. You know, running back room is so decent for Washington with Robinson and Gibson, and they'll probably draft a running back this year because that's what they always do. But and you know, better offensive line I think with Atlanta. But kind of Atlanta might be a little bit of a, you know, I don't think they're going to be like a playoff contending team or anything, but I think they could have some decent games this year. I do. I think they're a little bit better than, I don't know. I just think they might surprise some people. Nothing crazy, though. Nothing crazy. After the View says, Watson and the local YMCA flag football team. Jeez. Jerry's in the building. What's up, dude? How are you, man? What's up? Hope you're doing well, man. Everyone in the chat saying hello to Jerry. Thomas, I agree about Jacoby Myers. I like Myers. I do. Myers was always good with the Pats. Never hit 1,000 receiving yards, but he was good enough, you know. I think he'll have a nice role. Obviously, he's behind Adams, though. Thomas, I knew I'd better grab another tight end. Yeah, I think I really like Dawson Knox's value right now. Like, I'm not expecting anything crazy out of Dawson Knox. Very disappointing season last year. I really liked him going into last year, to be transparent. But age 26, going into his fifth year, tied to Josh Allen for the foreseeable future. I mean, like I said, I don't think the ceiling's super high, but I do think he'll be pretty consistent. And you'll know what to expect out of Dawson Knox. And like I said, I mean, he's going in like the 12th, 13th, 14th round. You know, so I think he's a good value right now. I mean, I've talked about that a little bit already, but yeah, I think he's a good value. Godfather, my point of asking the question was that their top two receiving options are both going to second season and first season with a quarterback who's unproven. Makes for a tough combo. That's fair. I mean, when you look at the Packers at the beginning of last season, right, they struggled. They struggled, right? It took time to really develop that chemistry between Rodgers and those young guys. I mean, luckily, going into their second season, they do have more time with the team and more time with Jordan Love than Rodgers had with them and everything. And plus, I don't remember exactly when Rodgers came to training camp. End of July, I want to say. But nonetheless, it's fair. It's a fair point there. So we'll see what happens. Ooh, I don't know where to go with this next pick. But I'm on the clock. So I better figure it out. I'm just going to take Zeke. Just give me Zeke. Go Chase Brown. I mean, it's really your pick at rookie running back here. Deuce Vaughn, Chase Brown, McIntosh, McBride. Oh, McBride's gone. Sorry. Should have taken Zeke. I already regret it. Evan Hull, I love there as well. Almost went with him. I mean, until we know landing spots, it's kind of tough to evaluate. There we go. Zeke's off the board, baby. Got 5 more selections as we enter the 16th round. Guys, thank you so much for spending part of your night here at the channel. Do me a favor, hit that like button if you guys haven't done so already. Thomas, like my Fields, Komet, Mooney stack. Yeah, all good values. I mean, he went a little bit against ADP for Komet, but I'm completely okay with it. Mooney in the 10th round is fine, too. I like the way that offense is moving. For sure. Ooh, where do I want to go next? Give me Rashid Shaheed. Okay, let me throw together a queue very quickly, guys, as we get into our last couple picks for the night. That way I'm not too caught off guard. I've not built a queue tonight at all. And I mostly like tonight's team. I do. There goes Baker. Michael takes him. Chase Claypool gone here in the 16th round. All right, just a second here, guys. Okay, I think I'm good. I got down to the point Carson Wentz was showing. I think I've got my pool of players for the night. We'll pivot if I need to, but probably not to Carson Wentz. So, all right, there goes Malik Willis. Yeah, rookie Chase Brown. We do have a member of the community named Chase Brown, which is always funny to me, but just whenever I do draft Chase Brown, that's all I think of. So Thomas says I was about to grab Baker. Yeah, would have been a good fit for your squad for sure. Tannehill was there. I'm okay with going Shakira though. I mean, you're probably starting. I mean, you know, you got Fields and you're starting Love or Ritter, whoever works out for this year. There still might be another player or two. I don't want to call anyone out, just in case. There's not much, though. All right, so I've got quite a few rookies on this. I got a young team, man. Let's go. I mean, Cooper Kupp and let's see. Kirk is 26. Yep. How old is Gainwell? 24. Myers 26. So Myers, Kirk, and Kupp outside of Rodgers as well are my only players over the age of 25. Maybe even 24. That's good. How old is Burrow? Burrow's 26. He does not feel 26, but he's 26. Burrow, I'm okay with. He doesn't count. He's Burrow. So yeah, nice little young team tonight, man. And still 4 more draft selections here. Odell goes at the 16.10 to Derek, followed by Adam Thielen. I like it. Snag up some veterans. How high should someone like Kyle Pitts go in Dynasty? Depends on if it's tight end premium or not, but pretty early. He's going to be the next big time tight end, and if you believe he is, would he be worth it for someone to go quarterback, tight end? For sure. For sure. I mean, you can argue he should be the first tight end off the board in a tight end premium league, in a dynasty league, for sure. Speaking of, I need a tight end, so give me Washington. Give me Washington. What I want to do with this next pick. There goes Noah Fant. There goes the Bellinger. I think. Yeah. I'm going to go McIntosh here. And that'll wrap up my running backs for the night. I'm probably just going to go wide receiver, or wide receiver, tight end, or tight end, wide receiver to end this night. But honestly, with Freiermuth in Washington, I mean, the only issue is if Freiermuth gets hurt. But other than that, I feel good. How come nobody's talking about Colt McCoy? Could be a good chance he starts a good amount of the season if Kyler is out. Could be a nice pick if you have Kyler. That's a decent point. I mean, those second-string quarterbacks always have a chance to be replaced if things start to go south pretty quickly. And Colt McCoy was hurt. He got hurt last year, too. Remember that, like, very random quarterback came in? Had an undisclosed minor procedure after last season. Jonathan Cannons added that Colt McCoy looks good and will be ready to go for 2023. So I guess the injury's not an issue. So David Blau and Trace McSorley, that's who I was thinking of, are the next 2 healthy guys there. So, yeah, Colt McCoy is still in line to be the QB2. And if you watched any of Hard Knocks in season with the Arizona Cardinals on HBO Max, my commercial for you guys, last season, Colt McCoy is like definitely in charge of that QB2 spot. Like, he had a presence about himself within the locker room as well as the quarterback's room. So, yeah, I think it's a fair point. Why not? But I would probably not draft him. Like, even in a super flex format, like, I still want to see it come to life. And if I'm desperate enough, then I'll go after him. But just to draft him, like, and I get what you're saying, like, if you have Kyler, maybe it makes sense because you have a placeholder and it's still super flex. You don't need a ton of points in the super flex spot always, even though you should want them. So I get what you're saying. Taylor says I'd rather have Tannehill than Colt McCoy. I mean, I would agree. And I did not think we would be on the topic of Colt McCoy tonight, but I'm all for it. Michael says he's 36. Jeez. He is old, huh? Didn't realize he was 36 as Cats. Oh, man. Where do I want to go with this draft pick? There goes Bailey Zappi off the board. Just give me Tyler Boyd. Why not? I was hoping Hayden Hurst would fall out here. I knew I should have gone Washington than Kate Otten. Because if I did, then I still land Tyler Boyd. Then I have a chance to get like Keaton Mitchell, Ibrahim. Or just go with one of Miami's running backs in Jeff Wilson or Raheem Mostert. How many receivers do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm kind of torn on this next pick. I feel like I need to go receiver, but I don't feel like there's a ton of wide receivers I want to draft. Go Richie James, baby. Let's go Richie James in the 20th round. I really think the Dolphins running backs, I mean, we'll have to see if the Dolphins draft another running back or if someone like Dalvin Cook really does end up on their team is possible, but I think they're great values. Dynasty redraft best ball. I think they're great values right now. The issue is there's two guys there in Jeff Wilson and Raheem Mostert, but they both got re-signed for a reason, right? I could have gone tight end here. Could have taken a guy like Taysom Hill. You see Kraft and Higbee off the board. Gerald Everett. Mallory's around. Hunter Henry. Robert Tonyan. Austin Hooper. But, hey. I'm taking Richie James, baby. Interesting team for me tonight. I like it. But, yeah, like I said earlier, my late-round selections aren't... You guys are starting to eat up talent pretty heavily. The late rounders are a little bit tougher to hit on. Godfather says, Ibrahim is my running back I think people are sleeping on who's better than their ranking. He's good enough to be a day one starter in the league, in my opinion. Yeah, I think he's a great value. He didn't even get drafted. Well, he might get drafted. There's one pick left. It's not Ibrahim. But, yeah, I do wish I went a tight end. I like McIntosh a lot. But, yeah, I mean, I could have gone Ibrahim, one of the Miami running backs, whatever. But good insight there. All right. You guys are already asking. Let's take a look at some teams. We got Derek up first. Herbie fully loaded. 2 a time. Purdy. I personally really like this quarterback room. I think Tua's going to be okay. Dolphins believe in him. They're going to be okay. I love Purdy as a third quarterback. I know the injury is substantial, and we're going to have to see how it unfolds, but I still believe in Purdy. I believe in him all offseason. I love him as a QB3. Now, you got Purdy. You got Tua. There's some injury concerns, some would say. Maybe that's the only knock, but I personally like this quarterback room. Kelsey, Michael Mayer. I mean, I like that a lot. Mayer might take some time to get going. We'll see where he lands. But as good of a prospect as we have in this draft class. So, you sit him behind Kelsey, I think you're in a good position. Gibbs, Najee, Monty, Roschon Johnson, CH, James Robinson. I like the running back room. I really like your first 4 running backs. I mean, Johnson, Monty, Harris, and Gibbs. I love. Absolutely love that, dude. See where Johnson and Gibbs land. Adamsburg, Skymore, Cooks, Reed, Palmer, Beckham, Thielen, Campbell. I do think you got some good receiver value, but your wide receiver room is the weakest part of this team. I mean, that's kind of the price of getting a tight end in the second round and getting 2 running backs before the 7th round. And then going quarterback and tight end again before the 10th round. Yeah, I mean, you just have to remember we're playing 3 wide receivers. So don't get me wrong. Like, you can start Herbert, flex Tua, start Kelsey, start Gibbs and Harris, or Harris and Monty. Then you're going to have Adams for sure. And then you got to figure out 2 wide receivers to play. on top of 2 flex spots to fill that aren't the super flex spots. So you probably have Adams, Burks, Sky Moore, and then flexing Cooks, and let's say Beckham for fun. Maybe you have Thielen over Sky Moore. You know, I mean, you have some options, some good late round values, but like you want some for sure guys in there. So I do like the team, Derek, but I think wide receiver would just be a little bit of an issue. Now, can you come out of a startup draft with good quarterbacks, good tight ends, good running backs, and a little queasiness at wide receiver and still be successful? Yes. But you're going to have to hit on trades in the waiver wire, and it's going to make the position an absolute priority going into your first rookie draft next year. But yeah, man, those will be my notes. Good to have you in the house, Derek. I'm glad you drafted with us tonight, my guy. All right, let me get caught up here. Michael's up next. What's up, Michael? How we doing, man? We got T-Law, Dangerous, Hal, and Mayfield. I'm okay with it. I mean, you get T-Law, right? Like, give me T-Law all day long. Russ can fill in for now. We'll see what Sean Payton does with him. Then you get 2 placeholders if you need them, Hal and Mayfield. So you're going to be looking for a quarterback sooner rather than later, but it's okay for now. Late round tight end build. Jawan Johnson, Cade Otton, Tyler Higbee. I think these are all good late round values. Jawan is 26. Cade Otton, very young, going into his second season. Higbee's your most veteran-esque player. So I think he actually has pretty decent balance there, and I love Cade Otton right now. I really do. So tight end premium, keep it in mind, but I think in terms of going with a late round build, it's okay. Breece Hall, Ramondre Stevenson, Nick Chubb, Dalvin Cook, Tyler Algier, and Gray is a very good running back room. I mean, you've got youth here. Hall, Stevenson, Algier, 2 stud veterans, and then you add Gray as well. I think it was a really good pick. Great running back room. Higgins, DJ Moore, Quentin Johnston, Allen Lazard, DPJ, KJ Osborne, Curtis Samuel. I love the wide receiver room. I do. You've got, let's see, 3, 6, 7 wide receivers. I think that's okay. Yeah, I think it's a good team, man. I think it's a good team. Pretty good balance at receiver. Got enough youth there. I mean, Higgins, Moore, Johnson, DPJ. Osborne's a little bit older than you think, but he's only 25 still. Curtis Samuel also a little bit older than you think, but still only 26. Lazard's your oldest receiver, 27. So, yeah, man. I think receivers look pretty good. It's a good squad tonight. You'll probably be looking for a tight end and quarterback sooner rather than later, but I think it's a pretty well-balanced team, Michael. Cats at the 1.5. A little different strat today. All right, we got Hurts, Goff, Trey Lance, and Zappy. I'm good with that quarterback room. And Njoku and Waller, as well as Kraft, good at the tight end room. Pierce, Akers, Bigsby, Foreman, Pirine, Warren. I'm okay at the running back room. If you don't come out of your running back or out of your draft with a ton of running back value, I think it's okay. Pierce and Akers, I think you're okay with. Between Bigsby, Foreman, Pirine, Warren, you have someone to step up if something happens to one of your 2 starters. Garrett Wilson, Devonta Smith, Christian Watson is a beautiful start. Chris Godwin, Juju, Zay Jones, Chark are nice additional pieces. Yeah. I like this team tonight. How do you feel about it? I think it's a pretty good squad, man. All right, Taylor's up next. What's up, Taylor? We got Kyler Murray, Stroud, Danny Dimes, and Tannehill. I have no beef with that. I think it's a well-balanced quarterback room. You do need to take that 4th quarterback because you got Stroud as a rookie, and you got Kyler missing part of the year. And I'm all for Danny Dimes, but he's still Danny Dimes. So I think it's good that you took Tannehill late. Ingram, Dulcich, Musgrave. I love this tight end room. Yeah. Say no more. In terms of not going with the tight end until the 11th round, I think you're in a really good spot here. Bijan, Swifty, Dylan, McBride, Singletary. I'm fine with those running backs. J-Mo, Hopkins, McLaurin, Lockett, Mims, Pierce, Scott, Dell. I mean, I think, adding that youth at the end was smart, but overall, I like the receiver room a lot, actually. Don't get me wrong. 3 rookies towards the end Can make you a little queasy in terms of depth because you don't exactly know their landing spots at the moment, how they're going to kind of, what they're going to look like with their respective teams. But Pierce, Lockett, McLaurin, Hopkins, J-Mo gives you a chance. And even J-Mo, some people are a little, believe it or not, a little queasy on. But obviously worth the selection. Going into his second season, only 22, and was obviously hurt, you know. But the 9 targets, 1 reception do make some people nervous. Nonetheless, I think it's a pretty good team tonight, man. Yeah. I mean, let's say you're starting... That's the thing, man. To start the season, you might be starting Jones and Tannehill, literally. Tannehill in the super flex spot. Jones is your QB. Ingram at tight end. Bijan and Swifty. J-Mo, Hopkins, McLaurin, Lockett, Pierce, or Lockett, Dillon as your wide receivers and flex. So yeah, I think it's a pretty good team, man. Thomas at the 1.9. We got Fields, J-Lo, and Ritter. I'm okay with it. And Zach Wilson. I mean, you might as well take a dart throw at the end, I guess. You're going to have some growing pains in the Superflex, I think, to be fair. I mean, Fields is definitely your starter, then you're going to figure it out between Ritter and Love. You might be looking for a quarterback in your next rookie draft. Or things could really work out here, and you have a solid QB2 who you got at a really good value. Those are really the only 2 ways it shapes out. So I'm okay with it for now. I'd rather have someone who I feel like I can plug in right away and not worry. Kmet, Knox, and Hurst, I think, are very good tight end room. Very, very good tight end room. Walker, Pollard, Kamara, Penny, and Kyron Williams. Talk about a player who everyone loved and then not a lot happened. But I do think with Cam Akers' injury history, Williams is totally worth the 19th round pick. I think it's a good running back room overall. Walker and Pollard is really nice. Olave, Pickens, Ridley, Mooney, Dobbs, Hodgins, Shakir, and St. Brown. Not the St. Brown we're used to. Yeah, I think a pretty good wide receiver room overall. But I would still try to get... I don't know. Olave, Pickens, Ridley. Let's look at the... You'd be starting Fields, and let's say J-Lo's in your super flex. Kmet at tight end, Walker and Pollard. You're starting Olave, Pickens, and Ridley. So in your 2 flex spots, I mean, you got Mooney, Dobbs, Knox, Penny, Hodgins, Hurst. I think the rest of the receivers would be on the bench for now, but I think it's a pretty good squad. I think your core roster would be okay. I think you got a good balance of youth and veterans here. So I think QB2 is your biggest issue, but team looks pretty solid to me, man. Boss man. What we do, man? All right, we got Watson, Geno, Hooker, Duggan. I'm okay with that because you can start Watson and Smith right away and see what happens with the 2 rookies there. Pitts, Likely, Ferguson. I'm okay with that because you do have Pitts. I think Likely will actually probably be pretty good. Ferguson, I think the Cowboys might draft a tight end. We'll see what happens. Late round running back build. We got James Conner, Herbert, Jamal Williams, Izzy, and Pierre Strong. I think for not going for a running back till the 10th round, pretty decent running back room. Heavy wide receiver draft for you. CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra, Judy, Dotson, Mechie, Downs. I mean, come on. Great first 6 wide receivers off the board. You had Thornton, who's super young, age 22. Then you had Calvin Austin as well. Okay, I'm okay with that in the 20th round. 20th round pick, you can do whatever. I may have considered more running backs here at the end. But you did get a lot of running backs between the 10th and 17th. So you're starting Watson and Geno, Pitts, Lamb, Amon-Ra, Judy, flexing Dotson and Mechie. I mean, that's just stupid. Then you have Connor and Herbert as your starting running backs. That leaves Downs, Jamal Williams, Likely, Izzy, Pierre Strong, Ferguson, everyone else on the bench. Good team. Good team. I mean, the fact that Lamb, St. Brown, Judy, Dotson, Mechie are your starting receivers. And Mechie, Josh Downs could be kind of two players you kind of swap. So, yeah, I think it's a good team, man. Jay Speezy. What's up, dude? How are you? Captain E like that, Kirk Cousins, mac and cheese. And I mean, yeah, probably okay that you loaded up at the end here. Stetson Bennett, Mike White, Gardner Minshew. So I personally wouldn't build a team this way. I'm interested to see the rest of the team, though. Hawkinson and Chig, I'm okay with. Charbonnet, Sanders, Spears, Madison, Keandre Miller, and Hull. I mean, I think you got a lot of rookies in there. But I think Sanders and Madison, you're probably going to be able to plug in right away. And I think Charbonnet, you're going to be able to plug in right away, too. Which Spears, Miller, and Hull, I love all of them. So I can't knock the running back room. It's very young. JJ, AJ Brown, JSN is really nice. Debo in the 5th is good. Tony. I like Hutchinson. And I like Jarrett. I think those are two good rookie values. This is an interesting team. I mean, I think you would agree quarterback's the weakest spot. You're starting Kirk Cousins, super flexing Mac Jones, starting Hawkinson, starting JJ, AJ Brown, JSN, flexing Debo, flexing Tony, starting Sanders, starting Charbonnet. It's still a pretty damn good team. And lots of intriguing rookies, and you got Alexander Madison. Had to figure out quarterback, but I think it's a good team. So Derek says he'd be starting OBJ, Burks, Thielen, flexing Kirk. Says I like the wide receiver room I got late. Yeah, like I said, I think you got some good value there for sure. For sure. And if you believe in Burks, that's fine. If you want Odell in your starting lineup, that's fine too. But there's just a lot of emphasis on wide receiver. And a 3 wide receiver set. Thomas says I'm a little light at running back for Dynasty. I mean, I think Walker and Pollard put you in a pretty good position. I definitely would have tried. Like, I wouldn't have even drafted Zach Wilson. I would have just got, you got, like, Mitchell, McIntosh, Carter, Zamir White. I would have taken another running back over Wilson. But just for depth. I mean, yeah, you only have 5 running backs. And, I mean, like, Kamara's got the looming suspension. Penny's got the injury history, although I do like the value of Penny there. And then Kyron Williams, is kind of dependent on another player getting hurt. So Walker and Pollard, who you are really relying on, if that was even a sentence. But I think it's okay because Walker and Pollard are very, very, very good running backs. Do you think OBJ is number 1 over Mark and Bateman? I mean, it's hard. Like, Mark Andrews will probably see the most volume, but he's not a wide receiver, right? Taylor says Stroud will be a starter. That's fair to say. And just because he's a starter doesn't always mean you're starting him right away in fantasy, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, could be some growing pains. You might get better or more consistent value out of Tannehill right away. But down the stretch, Stroud will be your starter. And he could be a starter right away in the NFL. And that's completely true. But from a fantasy perspective, you might want to let some of the rookie growing pains come out first. But keep in mind, like, Superflex formats, right? Your quarterback 2 doesn't always have to be Josh Allen or Joe Burrow. Sometimes it's okay to have a lower ceiling. All right, I'm gonna try. Bossman says Calvin Austin was a panic pick. No worries. Justin says weak quarterback wanting Goff to fall. Yeah, he doesn't fall as far back as he'd think, man. People are on Goff. I mean, you're close. We'd have to have taken him over Debo, but you're close. Drafter of the night. I was trying to think. There are a couple teams I really like tonight. Oh man, it's tough. I actually really like Boss Man's team. I mean, Watson, Geno, Kyle Pitts, Lamb, Brown, Judy, Dotson, Mechie, or Downs. Connor and Khalil Herbert, with Jamal and Izzy to back him up. Downs or Mechie on the bench. I think Likely and Ferguson are good depth. Strong's your guy, so I'll take it. Take your conviction. Thornton, super young. Ferguson could be a starter, or he might not be. And then you got your panic pick in there. You could drop him, pick someone else. I just think it's a good core roster. But there are a couple teams I really like tonight. Tommy, I really like your team outside of the QB2 situation. I do really like Michael's team. A lot of good teams we went over tonight. Cats, I thought your team actually turned out very good as well. Speezy, I liked your squad too. I just don't like your quarterbacks. I think I'm going to go Boss Man. Do not like J-Lo as a QB2. I mean, I don't... I like him more as a QB3 because you have the uncertainty there. You know, it's just a gamble. And I think it's okay to go with the gamble, but we don't know for sure that the Jordan Love situation is going to work out. So you're taking a gamble, right? Which is like, you know, if you don't have Ritter as your next guy up, I think is okay. But like if you had a Goff and then Jordan Love, for example, even a Pickett then Jordan Love, Geno Smith and Jordan Love, even Rodgers and Jordan Love, or Garoppolo and Jordan Love. You just, when it comes to a super flex format, in my opinion, you have to have someone you can plug in and trust right away. Now, between Love and Ritter, I do think you could get it figured out. But you also have to think, down the stretch, you just want to get as much consistency in that super flex spot as possible, because if you end up going up against a team that has Herbert and Tua, or Kyler Murray and CJ Stroud, Kyler Murray and Daniel Jones, Watson and Geno Smith, even, you could end up being at just a massive disadvantage. But that's all I'm saying, right, is at the end of the day, and if you have the conviction of Jordan Love, then I'm okay with it. And I do like Jordan Love. I think he's a good value, but we just still don't know for sure. Like we talked about it earlier in the stream, the sample size is just really small. And it's just a little bit of a gamble is all. But, yeah, he's young. He should be the starter. But that's the other thing with Jordan Love's situation is it's kind of murky because he's in his final year of his contract. So he's in a must-prove-it year as well, which could really work out for him. You know, if he has a good year, he's going to get a good contract and be locked down, you know. If he doesn't, then what's going to happen is becomes off-season banter for next year, you know? Does he go to a different team? What does that situation look like? So it's just, there's a little bit of a gamble associated with Jordan Love. So I just personally like him as a QB3 more than a QB2 at this point in time. But that could change throughout the offseason, dependent, you know, even things like training camp and reports out of training camp can change overall conviction as well. So we'll see what happens. But, yeah, I would just say at the moment I like it more as a QB3 as opposed to QB2. Jay Speezy says, as a Packers fan, the Love era is going to be rough. Love's career stats are 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 400 yards. Yeah, it's just a small sample size, right? Small sample size. All right, let's take a look at... Go ahead, let's roast my squad for the night. All right. We got Burrow, youngster, Rodgers. I'm okay with the quarterback room. I actually like it quite a bit. You know, I'm starting Burrow right away. I can let Young sit back and plug Rodgers in. The ceiling's not super high with Rodgers, but I do think it'll be consistent enough. And hopefully you get a little bit of a higher ceiling than last year with him going from the Packers to the Jets offense. We'll see. But like I said, I have the advantage of letting Bryce Young sit. I mean, he'll probably be a starter right away, but I don't have to, suffer the growing pains on my fantasy team, but I do have him down the stretch, and I like that situation quite a bit. Tight end got interesting for me tonight. I'm fine with Pat Freiermuth. That's my guy. Okay, super young. I mean, not super young, but young enough. 24, going into his third year. So I love Pat F. You can go back on the channel if you're really bored. Don't need to. But I love Pat Freiermuth from before his rookie season started. I really did. Loved him in the preseason going into his rookie season. I only drafted 2 tight ends. So I can start Freiermuth. If he gets hurt, I'm in a bad spot. Because I do like Darnell Washington as a prospect. But I do think he'll more than likely be a tight end. Unless he goes to like the perfect landing spot. Who's probably going to take a little bit of time to develop into his role. I should have gone Cade Otton at 18.4. I wanted Hurst to fall out. Did not happen. That's the gamble I took. Should have gone with Otton or Hurst here. And I feel better about my tight end room. But for now, I'll just cross my fingers that Freiermuth doesn't get hurt. And I think Washington is a good player to have. But I would still need, it goes back to kind of what we were talking about with the Superflex spot. With it being a tight end premium league, you still need depth. I love Freiermuth, but it's a physical league. Freak things happen. And I need someone else who I could plug in right away. So a little bit of a problem at tight end for me tonight. All right, wide receivers. Drake London, Cooper Kupp, Jordan Addison, Christian Kirk, Jacoby Myers, Rashee Rice, Rashid Shaheed, Tyler Boyd, Richie James. I'm okay with that wide receiver room. I'd be starting London, Kupp, and Kirk. And I'd probably be starting Addison. But if I'm not, I got Myers, Shaheed, Rashee Rice, Tyler Boyd, Richie James. I have options in the flex. And a lot of young guys. I mean, we ended up getting Tyler Boyd, he's 28. Richie James, he's 27. So we added some older guys there at the end. But overall, we still got a very young wide receiver group. Running backs, Rashad White, Pacheco, Cook, Gainwell. I love that. Personally, I really like that. I probably could have considered going with a tight end, maybe over Cook, for example. I like Cook only if you have a little bit of depth. I'm very worried about the Bills' rushing attack. Love Gainwell in the 12th round. That's my boy. Chase Brown and McIntosh. We'll just see where they land, but they kind of round that out, right? So, yeah, I could have gone tight end over Cook, for example, and still had a decent enough running back room. Maybe take another running back over one of those late-round receivers. But, I'm starting Burrow, Superflexing Rodgers, starting Freiermuth, starting London, Kupp, and Kirk, starting White and Pacheco. Then in my 2 flex spots, I have Jordan Addison, Cook, Gainwell, Myers, Rice, Brown, Shaheed, McIntosh, Washington, Boyd, and Richie James. So, I have a lot of options to choose from. I feel okay about this team. A little bit of an issue with tight end. Not my favorite late round guys, but ultimately I still think a pretty good squad. So, all right, let's see. Oh man, Bryce is the next Baker. Oh no. Oh no. I like Bryce Young personally. I do. We'll see what happens though. And like that, I do think that's the advantage of this quarterback room is I get Rodgers for 2 years, have Burrow, we're good at quarterback 1, and I can just see what happens with Bryce Young. You're still paying a premium price for Bryce Young. But if it doesn't work out, or if it takes some time, right? Like Justin Fields, took a little bit of time. Trevor Lawrence, only took a year. Fields really only took a year as well, right? Yeah. Even Hurts, took a little bit of time. At least a year, right? So, even Josh Allen, took a little bit of time. So, we'll see what happens. If he develops, he develops. If he doesn't, maybe he's at least mediocre. So... we'll see what happens. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that'll wrap it up for the night. We went a little bit longer than usual tonight. So do me a favor, guys. Hit that like button on the way out. If you guys are new to the channel and you tuned in, hit that subscribe button. And check out the links down below, guys. Follow us on Instagram, join our Discord, all that good stuff. You know what to do, man. So, Odell Beckham's going to the Ravens. He's not going to the Jets, in case you guys didn't hear. Thank you guys for drafting with me tonight. Thank you guys for hanging out, talking some fantasy. And I really do appreciate you guys and everything that you guys do throughout the offseason here at the channel. And I really do appreciate you guys being a part of the shift to Dynasty content as well. We've, been a redraft channel. We're going into our 3rd season. We've purely done redraft content, and just the slow shift into adding Dynasty content. I appreciate you guys coming along with me on this journey and playing in our upcoming Dynasty leagues as well. So it's been a lot of fun. I've been really enjoying this aspect of just developing into someone who participates in Dynasty and hopefully is able to give very good Dynasty advice moving forward as well. So appreciate you guys, man. Love this community. Love the Catch fam. Really do, guys. So Thomas, Jay Speezy, Derek, Taylor, Godfather, Boss Man, Cats, Michael, Jerry, After the Review Sports, Oz, Andrea. We had a lot of you guys come through tonight. Chase, Emil, Albert, and everyone else you stopped by, everyone else you hung out. Thank you guys so much for hanging out tonight. Thank you guys for coming out to the stream. All right, guys, that'll do it for the night. Hit me up on Discord, Instagram if you guys need anything. We'll be back tomorrow night. With that, I'll say thank you guys so much for watching and or listening. And remember, you saw it here on The Catch. And